check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Trail Dad channel, and today I'm super stoked to finally share this video with you guys. If you're following me on Facebook and Instagram, you probably noticed that I bought a new bike. I've been trying to get an e-bike for a while, and yeah, I finally switched to the dark side and bit the bullet, and I bought the 2021 Santa Cruz Bullit with a mullet setup and the new Shimano EP8 motor. So I've been thinking of getting an e-bike for almost a year now, and I'm totally on board on what an e-bike can bring to the table, how it opens up a whole new avenue of riding. So the first question I asked to myself was, do I need a full-on e-bike, big travel, big battery, or those light emtbs right now that are getting more popular, like the Specialized Kinevo SL and the Orbea Rise, which is smaller battery, a lot lighter, maybe sub 40 pound. But I eventually decided on getting the Santa Cruz Bullit for a few reasons. So first, I already know how a Santa Cruz bike rides. I know how the VPP suspension behaves and reacts in certain situations. I know the maintenance, torque specs, and everything like that. Of course, with my experience with the Bronson, I already know what I'm gonna get with the customer service, which is excellent. I've also decided to just get the full-on e-bike experience, just get the big miles, big battery, a bike that I can bring anywhere. And since I have a motor in there, there's no problem climbing up in a mini downhill rig. It is important to know also that the Bullit only comes in with the mullet setup, the 29 in front and 27 in the back. So a lot of bike brands right now are just shifting to a lot of their new models being mullet setup, so they're probably onto something. And lastly, of course, the best bike is the one that is in stock, the one that you can put your hands on. With the situation right now with the bikes, it's really hard to get one in stock, especially an e-bike in this caliber. So I'm very fortunate to have found an online dealer in Colorado that has one in stock, the medium, the right size for me. And I'm shocked that they gave me a really rad deal. They gave me an offer that, I cannot refuse. So it was basically a no-brainer for me, and I was, waiting for buying an e-bike for a while, so I was so excited. If you are interested on where I got this e-bike, I'll put a link in the description below. And just a little hint, it's the same place that I got the Bronson from. Once I bought the bike online, the shipping was easy, it's fast. At first I was kind of concerned because I saw a few big holes on the box when I received it. But I was relieved when I checked inside. The bike was really well protected in there. It was well packaged. So the only thing I had to do is pop on the wheel, put on the handlebars, and do some adjustments, and also put in some a little bit more tire sealants in the tire. It's already set up for tubeless. So when you point this thing downhill, this bike absolutely rips. It's so stable at speed. When you go through that chunky, rattly section, you're just kind of like floating through air. I love the stability of the bike. I think, of course the weight has something to do with it, but it's just so planted, so stable, so smooth. It just made me go faster than I've ever been. So it has the Fox 38 Performance Elite up front, and it's just so good. This fork just gives me so much confidence in hitting trails faster. Right out the box, it felt a lot plusher than the 36 that I have. I just kind of played with the Grip 2 settings, kind of made it almost similar to the settings in my 36, and I just felt at home in this fork. So this thing is massive. It's 38 mil stanchions, pretty stable, super stiff. It's like you don't have to think about which line you're gonna take. It just go straight, go the fastest way. And it's gonna eat up everything you throw at it. And I do find myself being more aggressive, putting more weight up front, just trusting the fork more. So coming from a 30-pound Bronson, this bike weighs in around 49 pounds, and I do feel the weight, but just at certain situations where it's very steep and muddy. So I've been on trails with this bike, which are pretty narrow, tight, and pretty steep sections and muddy conditions. So basically the tire up front, I have the Assegai up front, just takes up mud and lose traction, and it felt like I was sliding down in a tank. It's really hard to control going down. In that situations, I would really prefer just getting on an analog bike. Forget about getting back on if you're stopped on a steep section which is muddy and loose or whatever. It's really hard to get back and get your control with this heavy of a bike. So in the back, this bike came in with a RockShox Super Deluxe Select Plus. That's in the XT build. And I felt right at home on this one because it's basically the same shock on what I have in the Bronson. I have the Ultimate version on the Bronson. And both of them, you know, the VPP suspension coupled with this shock has this, you know, bottomless feel where you feel like you're not bottoming out, but when you check the O-ring, you're like, oh, I'm almost at the end of the rope here. And that's what kind of surprised me also, is I thought the Bullit will have a little bit more progressive, or maybe a lot more progressive than the Bronson, maybe like the Nomad, but it felt, you know, almost kind of like the same. It's super smooth. You feel like you have endless travel, but you see you're kind of like bottoming out almost every ride. And I've never seen a leverage ratio graph on the Santa Cruz Bullit online yet, so if you know where it is, leave a comment down below, let me know, and I'll appreciate it. So right now, I'm 175 plus maybe 10 pounds of gear, so that's 185, and I'm using around 205 PSI. So I'm thinking of just kind of bumping it up to maybe 210 or 215 and see how it feels. If not, I'll just put more tokens in there, probably a Nardog token to make it a little bit more progressive. So this shock doesn't have a low speed compression dial like the Super Deluxe Ultimate and the Bronson, but I've had the low speed compression on my Bronson all the way open anyways, all the time, so yeah, I don't think that it matters. So this bike came in with the Shimano XT 4-piston brakes, came with 203 rotors front and back. I love the power, I love the feel. Just a little caveat though, in my Bronson I'm using a Galfer rotors and pads. So I do feel that in this bike the XT brakes up front needs a little bit more powerful initial bite. I find myself just, you know, squeezing the front brakes a little harder than I'm used to. So I'm probably just gonna upgrade the pads first. I'm getting a Galfer pad, or either that or just gonna get a 223 rotor, or get both, you know, who knows. So let's talk about the mullet setup, you know, business up in front, party in the back. I'm loving the setup so far. Like I said, I tried the Ibis Rip mode before, and I love how the 29er feel up front. It just gives you a lot more confidence. Just rollovers everything, you know, and the traction is really good. And I love how this bike comes in stock with the Maxxis Assegai up front and the Maxxis DHR2 in the back. That's my favorite combo tire. It's just a really good tire combination. It's very popular, especially here in Northern California where it can be super loose and dusty. It does feel at times that it's really slow rolling, but you know, in the conditions here in Northern California, I like the front tire to be as grippy as possible. The stock tires too are double down casings, so I think in the future when I get a new tire, I'll just downgrade a little bit and just get the Exo Plus up front. I think it's a little bit overkill for a double down up front. So with the mullet setup, I like how the front just takes anything you throw at it, and the back, you know, it feels like it's almost the same maneuverability as the Bronson, even with the, I think it's an inch longer wheelbase. So let's talk about the Shimano EP8 motor. There's a lot of hype in this motor when it came out. I've already ridden the Bosch motor on my friend's e-bike, and I could easily feel the difference on how it gives you more torque easily. On the Shimano EP8 motor though, I think they designed it to be more smoother, and it felt a lot natural pedaling, especially on eco mode, but even on trail mode. When you pedal, it's super smooth. It feels like you're just shifting to an easier gear, but you're keeping your speed. You know, compared to a Bosch motor, you can really feel the kick of the motor when you pedal. So you can see here, I'm on a decently steep climb. I'm on trail mode, and the motor's not that loud. It's pretty good. Maybe if I downshift a little bit more and bring up the cadence more. There you go. It really rewards you with that power when you push the cadence a little bit. What I like about the Shimano motor right now is you can go get the app, and basically it has 3 modes, right? Eco, Trail, and Boost. You can basically customize them on how much assist, how quick the assist is, and how much torque it can give you. So that's pretty cool. So you've already probably heard about the dreaded Shimano EP8 rattle, and it's real. There is a rattle. Checking out the rattle on this thing. It's kind of like loose plastic inside the motor. If you try to focus on it, it will annoy you. I tried it, and especially on those fast uneven terrain, it's just the rattle gets a lot louder. For the most part, like 99% of the time, I don't even think about the rattle. I just focus on the trail, focus on the ride, and you know, you don't even hear it. It's just a shame because Santa Cruz is known for making ultra quiet bikes, and this one is not an exception. It's really quiet, except, you know, for that EP8 rattle. So this bike uses the 630 watt-hour battery, and I'm pretty impressed and happy about the range. Even if you put it on trail mode the whole ride, I basically get tired first before the battery runs out of juice. The battery display has like 5 bars, and I rarely use 3 bars on every ride unless, you know, I go full boost mode. Although it seems like the battery display is not linear, so basically it takes longer for you to lose the first bar than the third or fourth bar, so keep that in mind when you're riding. If you're having any range problems with the Shimano EP8, make sure to check out the assist settings in your eTube app. I initially wanted to get the brown color at first, but this is the only one in stock. But I'm pleasantly surprised when I got the bike, and you know, you see it in person. It's really beautiful. One thing I did though was to use a matte version of the protection frame instead of the glossy one. That takes out a bit of shininess and glossiness of the bike, and I really love how it looks right now. It does make it a little bit of a darker shade, I would say. Of course, I used Ride Wrap to protect the frame. The installation was super easy, and it does look super clean. So for tips on how to install a frame wrap, watch how I wrapped my Bronson by clicking the link above. So I've ridden the Bullit for about 300 miles now, and I'm loving every second of it. This machine is an absolute joy to ride, and you know, having an e-bike just opened up a whole different type of riding for me. I'm more confident in exploring new trails, getting more miles, you know, just looking for more fun trails around the park. If I only have like an hour of riding, I can get like, you know, 3 or 4 laps of my favorite trails instead of just one. I can do like 6-7 laps of my favorite trails in the morning, and you know, come home and you know, cook lunch or dinner, and still have energy to play with the kids, do some housework in the afternoon, you know, whatever. Actually, my wife gets surprised now when I come home a little earlier than expected, because you know, I've ridden the trails that I want to ride and I got extra time. Imagine going to a large park somewhere that you've never been. You got your e-bike fully charged, you got trail forks to guide you, you got GPS, whatever, you know, that's a fun adventure. So there it is, guys, my first impression of the Santa Cruz Bullit. I'm gonna ride the hell out of this, and I'm gonna give you a long-term review in the future. Please don't forget to click like, subscribe to my channel if you want to get more mountain biking videos like this. If you want to follow me on Twitter, TrailDad MTB. Leave me a comment down below, guys. Let me know what you think about e-bikes. Let me know what e-bikes you want or what e-bikes you have. What do you think about the Santa Cruz Bullit? Don't forget to click that bell button to be notified whenever I put new videos up, and I'll see you guys on the next video.